A warm welcome to our multimedia series, Limitation is Power. My name is Haneli, and I'd like to invite you just to sit back and relax and to also invite in your body's intelligence. So let your body do the talking today as we explore this very controversial topic together. And there are no right and wrong judgments. We simply notice what comes up for us in whatever way. And then we just sit with that for a while. And the invitation is to also just go with it and see where you feel contracted or where you feel more expansive. And our bodies are really intelligent, but we have never learned how to really use it to also explore other possibilities. Now, if you hear the word yes, what happens for you? Just notice. Is it contraction or a feeling of more expansion? And now notice what happens for you when you hear the word no. That's limiting. No, don't come closer. And sometimes we might find ourselves that we even put our hands over our heart like this to protect ourselves subconsciously. We don't even know why. That's the sign we are closing off. And then we're limiting ourselves without knowing it. But the contraction part is what is the signal here of why limitation is power. Now let's go back to nature. Now, wise men said that a happy person is the one that can live according to their true nature. So what is our true nature? Now let's go to nature itself first before we come to the human being part. Now let's look at a seed. The seed contains all the intelligence for it to burst through the soil, the hard soil, to the sun, to start growing as a seedling and then to turn into a plant and a tree and to bear fruit or flowers. And then the process starts all over again of life itself. But that intelligence, that force is inside it to change form, because while it's germinating, it loses its husk, it's becoming bigger, and then it really changed form into the seedling, a completely different form. And that's a life force running through all of us too. And then it becomes the tree and bear fruit and it can even become an orchid in the process, that one seedling. That's incredible power, but we can perceive it as very limiting because that hard soil that it had to burst through can feel limiting. It can feel painful. Especially changing form could be our perception that it might be painful or not so nice, uncomfortable, and limiting, being there under the soil. But it's not new to us as human beings, regardless of how we were born. Now, if you look at the baby in the womb, it's a very small place. It's limiting, but something new is developing there. Life is bursting forth. There's some creative process going on in there. And then there's this symbiosis with the mother of these contractions that allow that life force that's in the baby, so all that intelligence is already in the baby, to take their life journey to grow and to change form and become bigger, so to speak, in shape and the likes, to develop our brains, our minds, our emotional body, our energetic presence, transform all that intelligence already in us. It's an incredible force, but it felt very limiting. Might be feeling, if we look at it from the outside in, very limiting in that small space. And then that birthing channel is so small, so tiny, but it was possible. So whenever you feel limiting, new life wants to be born, something new, and know that you are not here to take forward and to continue an old pattern, an old system that might become outdated or irrelevant. But what we do as human beings, we now start to identify with and we see ourselves as that limitation, especially if we have been on the other side of stereotyping, discrimination, unfairness, and the likes. But know that if that's happening to you, you are not here on this earth to actually validate that old system that's imposing it on you. There's actually a power waiting in you. So something new that wants to be born. And that could be in the workplace, it could be in your personal life, it could be in your social life, it could be in the political part of life or ecological part of life. all the facets of life. It could be in anywhere there. Now, just think about that incredible, yes, life force that's waiting to come forth in that space of limitation, that perceived space of limitation. So you may now say to me, but how do we then access if we are in a state or in a situation where we feel limited for whatever reason? How can we access this power, this life force inside of ourselves, which is part of our creative potential? That's inborn, it's in our cells. Our cells transform themselves every few years. It's part of who we are on a biological level even. So if you have that question, please join us in our salons. You can join us on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, in our club, Gateway to the Possible. You can join us on LinkedIn and Medium, where we explore this even further, give us practical ideas in the different parts of life, of how we can transform this limitation and access that power, and in our podcast as well. Just know that if you feel limited for whatever reason, something incredible is waiting to be born through you. Don't let the mental construct hold you back and put you into fear or into space of where you don't feel dignified. So thank you for being with me here today. Just know that that intelligence is within us, but regardless of the situation, it might even be in our business that we feel limiting at the moment, how we create our own livelihood. It doesn't matter what it is. Even on a health level, it impacts us because then the energy starts flowing where before it could be blocked. So thank you for being with us. We're looking forward to be with you again in the series in other parts of media and also in future topics that we explore together like this. Have a wonderful time. Goodbye.